So what's your dress look like?
It's kind of sparkly. It's like champagne nude color.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, what's yours?
Mine's a red one. It's got this really pretty lace in the front, and it's BCBG.
Hey, Marion.
Hey guys, Angelia, I can't believe you're going to prom with Sam.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to prom with Sam.
No, I like. There's a picture on my Instagram and everything.
You know what this is like, guys? The importance of being earnest.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's so important about being named Earnest?
Well, apparently it's the only way Cecily and Gwendolyn will marry a man.
I feel like they should care more like their character and personality rather than their actual names.
I guess not all marriages are based on love. A lot of these characters marry for their own motives and reasons, whether it be love or social status, or maybe they don't believe in marriage at all.
Yeah, marriage in this book gets like really turned around, especially when like Algernon says he wants to marry Cecily, even though previously he said to Jack that it's all business.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. Why did Algernon go to such great lengths to get Cecily if he didn't even know her?
Well, that's the thing. Even though he proposes to her, it wasn't like he was deeply in love with her.
Okay.
To Algernon, marriage is a frivolous, confining institution. See, on page 30 he even says it. I thought you'd come up for pleasure. I call that business.
Oh.
Yeah, his interest in Cecily is simply based on her physical description. He doesn't know her and doesn't necessarily care to either.
Yeah, on page 28 he makes a similar comment to Lane. Good heavens, his marriage is so demoralizing.
Oh, right, okay. I understand now.
Well, what about Jack? He's an Earnest too. Does he feel the same way?
Well, Jack Bunbury's his Earnest, so he's a different kind of Earnest.
Right, he's the original. He acted as Earnest towards Gwendolyn for an extended period of time, as opposed to Algernon's little stunt with Cecily.
Yeah, even before the play delves into issues of identity, Jack establishes his love for Gwendolyn. To Algernon he says, I'm in love with Gwendolyn. I have come to town expressly to propose to her. He enjoys the formality of marriage, the commitment.
But he still proposed to Gwendolyn under the name of Earnest.
Right, but it was just happenstance. He had taken on the persona of Earnest before he even knew Gwendolyn. Algernon, though an experienced Bunburyist, took on Earnest simply to get the girl. Do you see the difference there?
Yeah, that makes sense. But what about Gwendolyn and all this? She's really the first female whose views on marriage are introduced.
It doesn't really seem to me like she has a classic romantic view of it all.
But she seems to be so in love with him. How can she not be a classic romantic?
Well, you see, even though she's complimentary of Jack, she's way more focused on the social terms of marriage. She just wants to impress whomever she's around. Even when she says she loves Jack, she's still analyzing whoever's in the room with her.
Yeah, I remember her saying something about, like, society somewhere in here.
Right. Just before Jack proposes, she stresses the appreciation of, like, the finer things. Jack and Gwendolyn possess a real relationship, but what differs in their feelings is that Gwendolyn really needs that social validation.
You know where Gwendolyn must have gotten him? Lady Bracknell.
Wait, who even is that? It's so hard to keep all these characters straight.
Yeah, Lady Bracknell's Gwendolyn's mother, as well as Jack and Algernon's aunt. She's all about the social perception.
Yeah, she sees marriage as an alliance of property and social status. Love and passion are not part of it at all.
Yeah, Lady Bracknell was not always a member of the upper class. Before she was a lady, she was a social climber bent on marrying into aristocracy. With her title came opinions on society and marriage, money, religion, and respectability.
My favorite line of Lady Bracknell's is when she says, "You can hardly imagine I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel."
She was so sassy there. So do you see, Liz, why I made that connection? Gwendolyn was brought up in an environment constantly dictated by social conscience. Lady Bracknell's opinions are more obvious with the testing questions she puts Jack and Cecily through, but Gwendolyn still thinks similarly.
I'm starting to put it together now. Lady Bracknell comes off so stringent all the time because to her, marriage is something to prove social status, right?
Right, but now the question is, where's Cecily in all of this?
Out of all the couples, I think Cecily and Algernon are the most like. They both kind of share in their shallowness, you know?
You're right, man. Both attain this sort of anticipated infatuation based on either a name or description. That's kind of messed up.
Cecily comes out and says it as their engagement is about to take place. And of course, a man who is much talked about is very attractive. One feels there must be something in him, after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Earnest.
I think her true feelings on marriage and relationships really come out just after she goes on to tell those so-called letters the two had written. This shows that she's living in a fantasy almost. She's not in love with Earnest, she's just enthralled by the idea of their relationship.
Wow, what a group of individuals.
Okay, let me see if I've got this straight. Jack and Cecily are the hopeless romantics, while Algernon, Gwendolyn, and Lady Bracknell see marriage as more of a business arrangement.
Exactly. Marriage is more about impressing the people around you. The girls want to impress other women, and the guys want to impress the guys around them.
So almost like a competition about who can snag the most high standard and successful spouse. They all went through such a careful selection to decide if someone has a good enough spouse, regardless of who the person actually is.
Weird, right? But back then, women were just expected to wait for their parents to interview and select a suitable husband for them, which is why Jack was questioned by Lady Bracknell.
Right. In Victorian England, love was probably the least important aspect of marriage. What was important was that you maintain high social status based on the person that you did marry. Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell, and Algernon are all exemplary of this.
Yeah, and Cecily and Jack proposed a newer idea of relationships based on love, even though Cecily had never actually met the man she was supposedly in love with.
It would be so much easier if they decided on one opinion for marriage. They all think of it differently.
But does this sort of thing really happen anymore? This whole love without marriage deal?
Not much that I see. Modern times have changed the idea of marriage to be a lot more about the personal connection between two people. It has become way more about true love than back in the times of Jack and Algernon.
True, but there are still people that believe in arranged marriage for cultural reasons. It's not totally obsolete today, it's just not as expected of a protocol as it was back then.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely plan on picking my own husband.